Hello, hello, hello. Hi, hi, hi. Hope you're well. Hope you're swell. Hope you're wavy. Hope you're gravy. Before you get into the video, I just wanted to say, so you got these Pringles, right? They've got these bigger containers now. They say 65% more Pringles. 65% more Pringles. This thing costs triple the price of what ordinary Pringles used to cost. And here's the kicker: you can't get the normal cans anymore. If you go to the store and try to get a normal can of Pringles, the normal size they used to be, you can't find them. You can only get these ones. But these ones cost triple what the regular sized ones used to cost. It's insane. And it's for 65% more. You'd think double the amount of Pringles equals double the price. That would make sense. Probably less because you're trying to give people a deal, right? But you get only 65% more for triple what the normal size can used to cost. It doesn't make sense. They're just blatantly stealing from you. I didn't buy these. My aunt bought these. I haven't bought Pringles in a long time. They don't even taste that good, to be honest. They just taste so artificial, and I don't typically eat them. And I don't feel good after eating them either. Oh well. I just wanted to mention that. But yeah, my arms are actually ashy. I got ashy arms. Should I put Vaseline on them? Not for a video. Doesn't make any sense. I'll just have ashy arms. So shout out Tony Triggers. I was like, okay, I want to switch things up. I was looking through some of his videos to see if there's anything I could draw inspiration from. See if there's anything I could try different on my channel. So I saw one of his videos was like a haircut video. So I thought I'd do haircut sounds. I'm not really into role plays like that. I do have a whole playlist full of role plays, by the way. There's a bunch on there if you want to check that out. I used to do role plays, but I don't find them very fun. But yeah, shout out to him. That's where I got the idea from. Tomorrow I'm not using shampoo on my hair tomorrow because I'm using it now. I don't want to waste. So I just put a little bit. This is Head and Shoulders, by the way. Head and Shoulders apple flavor. The apple scent. Apple fresh. Anti-dandruff shampoo. I got a little container here with water. So just pretend that I'm applying shampoo to your hair. But yeah, I was just looking through his thumbnails in particular to see if there's any thumbnail ideas I could use. So I thought the haircut ASMR video would be the easiest to replicate. So I chose that one to do today. So we'll see how that performs. It's always a risk trying new stuff. It's always a risk experimenting because could not work. But at this point, it's you just gotta try, man. Because I do want one of my goals is to get at least one video this year that does above 100,000 views. So you gotta throw a bunch of stuff at the wall and see what works. Some months you're gonna have a great month. Some months it's gonna be a terrible month. Some months are gonna be good, some months are gonna be bad. But you gotta experiment, you gotta take risks, you know? So that's what I'm trying to do. So I think I should try more of that. Just look at different people's channels, see what's working, see what's doable for me, what matches with my style. So I don't think I'll do like role plays necessarily, but I can do sounds from different types of role plays, different triggers. So haircuts make sense. I can look. I had a towel with me. Where did I put that towel? Because I might have to. I think I'm gonna let me actually do this part quietly so I can clip this and use it as background noise starting out. Okay, so that's from about 6:50 to when 7:30. So I'll just clip that. And then use it as background noise. Maybe I'll also use scissors sound as background noise. But yeah, for today's video, I wanted to talk about. This is funny. So a couple of days ago, I talked about people that want to move to Japan and the reasons behind it being surface level sometimes, you know. Some people fall in love with anime culture or whatever aspect of Japanese media, and then they're like, I really want to live in Japan. And there are a lot of considerations that they don't make sometimes. Where's the towel? There it is. Let's pretend that I'm drying your hair. This is an old towel, by the way. I had to pick one I don't typically use. Let me actually bring it here so I can dry your hair properly. Okay. So yeah, sometimes people want to be out here moving around. So in a haircut, would you comb the hair first and then cut it? I guess I'll comb it and then cut it and then comb it again. Because like Who gives a damn? So yeah, I talked about that in that video, and then I saw another video like yesterday, maybe the day before yesterday. When did I see it? I don't know. And someone else was talking about that exact topic, and I just thought it was funny how that works. And I stumbled into that video because I was also talking about it. But I don't live in Japan. I think it was just for me. It was just more so hypothesizing. But this person actually lives in Japan, and they were saying the same thing. They were more so talking about it from a financial perspective. You move to this foreign country. If your finances aren't in order, it's going to be hard for you. You're going to have to work very hard to actually experience Japan in the way that you want to. Because if you have financial constraints, it can be very hard, and you might find yourself not enjoying yourself as much. Because you're going to find yourself working more so than doing the things you want to do. Because if you don't work, you're going to be destitute, which is not ideal. And if you can't support yourself, you're going to get deported. So that person was more so talking about finances. He was saying that, he moved to Japan, and before he moved, he was studying. What is he studying? Business. I think he's doing a business course, because apparently if you have a business degree, it really helps you get far in Japan. But he was like, I don't want to do this. He wasn't having fun with it. He was stressing him out, so he ditched it and he just learned English instead, because he was going to teach English in Japan. And that was a mistake, because when he got to Japan, his money ran out. And it just made things so much harder. If he had had that business degree, he would have had an easier time maneuvering the society and making money. Then if he had more money, he'd have more time. And it also made things hard for his relationship with his girlfriend at the time. He had a Japanese girlfriend at the time. And she was like, what's your future? What are your plans? Because he's just like an English teacher. He didn't really have any plans to go beyond that. So she was like, because she was also like, she was going to a prestigious university. She had a lot of suitors who were well off, male suitors who had much more enticing prospects in terms of career, who were pining for her. So yeah, he lost her to the game, man. The game is a game. Did he lose it? I think so. I think he ended up breaking up with her. I think he referred to her as his ex or something. I can't remember how that ended up going, but I think he fumbled that one. Or maybe they broke up mutually or something. I don't know. Regardless, his choices ended up making things a lot harder for him. So finances are definitely something you should consider when you're talking about moving to Japan. Like, how are you going to support yourself when you're there? What's your life going to look like? I talked about things like tax. I talked about things like cost of living. I think you have to consider all these things. Like, you have to consider that, especially like most people that want to move to Japan, it's usually like Tokyo or Osaka, like the hubs, the main places people go to when they move to Japan. You have to understand that those places are very, very, very expensive. If you look up the prices, like, damn, people are paying how much per month? And it's for the tiniest apartments, dude, very, very tiny. I saw a video of this lady, her apartment, she pays a lot of rent for this tiny ass apartment. It's ridiculous how small it is. And she drives like a very expensive car, like a Lexus. Is it a Lexus? I don't know what it is. But it's like a very nice car. But it's parked around this like not so impressive looking apartment. But that's because these apartments cost a lot. And the more impressive it is, the more you're going to pay. And obviously, but like you pay a lot in Japan. So it's tough, man. Anyway, that's a long combing session. going on with snipping? Snip, 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 snip. Just kind of here. But yeah, you also have to think about tax burdens as well, how much you're going to be paying in taxes. If you come from a country where you pay low tax, good for you, that's amazing. If you move to Japan, you might be paying considerably more, depending on what you're doing and all that sort of stuff, your tax bracket. So yeah, these are all things you have to consider that you don't think about at the time, but when you get there, it just, reality smacks you like, oh my god, this is crazy. I think there are cultural considerations to make as well. Do you mesh with the culture? If you're coming from a society that's more individualistic and you have more individual freedoms and there's less societal pressure around certain things and you can just do what you want when you want and no one really cares, I think a lot of Asian countries in general, a lot of Asian cultures, it's not like that. There is very much this idea of collectivism and more traditional, more conservative cultural values. So people have to be prepared for that. And I watch like some Japanese street interviews and some native Japanese people who end up migrating to the US. You know, they always go to like California. And the thing they'll say is, I'm happy in California because here it's a lot less restrictive. And it's usually like girls who just want to like wear less clothes and have more sex and whatnot. But whatever, you know, it's like, regardless of whatever it is you're trying to do, just be aware of the cultural differences. Because some things, it's not to say Japan is like super restrictive. I'm sure like Tokyo is very liberal in many ways. It definitely is. You hear about things that go on over there. But overall, as a country, it's still, I'm sure it's very different from what people might be used to if you're coming from like more Western liberal nations. Like I said, like as an example, gay marriage is illegal in Japan till this day. That's a consideration. That just gives you a glimpse of what to expect when you're there. So yeah, it's just people have to temper their expectations and prepare themselves. Do your research. For me, I live in South Africa and it has its issues. I think it's still a good country and a lot of people could leave, but they choose to stay because I do think it has a lot to offer. I do think there's a lot of misinformation spreading around and we've been making the rounds in the news and the international news because of a whole bunch of things. I do think, I do think a whole lot of lies, just straight up lies are being told. Because if you just do your research and if you just look for evidence, you never find much evidence supporting the claims that are being made. And I don't want to get too into it, but you know, because it's not a fun topic, it's not a very nice topic. But for example, like they'll say like white genocide, like white people are just being rounded up and shot in the streets, which is just, it's interesting. It's an interesting claim to be making. That's not happening, guys. And any white person that's being honest with you, that's from South Africa, they'll tell you that's not happening. White people aren't being rounded up and just shot. In fact, the crime rate in South Africa is very high. But of all the murders that occur every year, white people are represented as less than 2% of all murder victims in South Africa. Total. That's including farm murders. Less than 2% of murder victims in South Africa every year are white. White people are about 4 million of this population of 40-something million people. So if around 20,000 people are being murdered every year, and less than 2% of them are white, I don't know what the maths for that would be. Maybe like a couple hundred, probably less than that, I don't know. So you take that very tiny number of a couple hundred or probably less than that, and then you say, of 4 million, what percentage is that very tiny number? To say that 0.00000 whatever percent number is enough to constitute genocide is insane. Is insane, and also it's not racially motivated. You'd have to make the claim that that 0.0000 whatever percent of white people that were murdered, those white people that were murdered for racial reasons. You'd have to prove that, and think you can't. So even with the farm murders, it's not only whites being killed in farm murders. I don't think there's evidence that these are racially motivated attacks, because black farmers get attacked too. I think it's more opportunistic because a large amount of farmers in this country happen to be white Afrikaans farmers. So they end up, if you all are overrepresented within that group, reason would stand to say that, yeah, the ones that end up getting killed more than the others will be white because you're overrepresented within that group. I don't think there's evidence that it's racially motivated. Otherwise, why are black farmers getting killed too? But they never talk about the black farmers getting killed. And even when they attack these white farms, all the black workers and all this on those farms, they get attacked too. But yeah, farm murders aren't even at an all-time high. They used to be higher in the early 2000s. I can't believe I'm talking about this to this extent. Let me wrap up because this is not a fun topic. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But farmers, it's like a couple dozen every year. A couple dozen. I'm not trying to minimize. It's very terrible when it happens. It's very terrible. But when you frame it as a racial issue and you use it to pour gasoline and on this fire of the political situation in this country, which is already bad, and you say there's a race war and South African whites are being rounded up and killed, I think it's a despicable thing to do because this country has enough problems. You don't need people trying to instigate race wars. So the farm murders are terrible, but I don't know if there's evidence that they're racially motivated. You've got people like Julius Malema, who's a politician, who sings songs like "Kill the Boer, Kill the Farmer," and I understand how it's an old song and it's a terrible song. I've never been a fan of it, but you don't really hear people singing that song. They make it sound like that's just a nationwide anthem. I promise you it's not. Most people don't sing that song. It's a very fringe thing. The EFF is a fringe party as well, and most people aren't fans of the EFF anyway. So you can find any lunatic espousing any lunatic view, and you can make it see the whole country's like that. It's like, no, it's not. Him and his followers they exist in their own little dark corner, and he's never won an election, and he always loses, and that's for a reason. His party performed very terribly this past election, so that should let you know where the country stands when it comes to the EFF and their very fringe viewpoints. Most people don't take them seriously, so that's important. So I'm sorry, I really didn't intend to spend so much time on this topic. It's not a fun thing to talk about, but anyway, I say all that to say things are not perfect here in South Africa, but it's not nearly as bad as the media makes it sound. I promise it's not. The country has issues. Maybe it's because we're used to it. When you live in these conditions for so long, you get used to them. But at the same time, when you just hear the claims being made online, you're just like, that's not happening. Not the way that y'all are describing it. And definitely, the white genocide thing is definitely not happening. They're not rounding up white people and just shooting them in the head in the streets, which is a claim people literally make. Like, that's not happening for sure. Okay, cuddle your hair. We'll just pretend there's still some left, because I was chopping for a minute. But yeah, that being said, I do think about leaving, not because, partly because this country has issues, but mainly because I feel like I can spread my wings further in other countries. So I think about writing, and I want to write more books as I progress. And there's not a big writing market here in South Africa, especially like for fantasy and stuff like that. And I feel like I could find better success in a country like the US or even the UK or yeah, really the US for the purposes of writing, right? I think that'll be where the biggest market is. And then I'd love to start a video game company at some point. South Africa doesn't have a very, very big gaming market. Not really. So really your options when it comes to gaming and starting a business is it's the US, it's Canada, it's Japan, it's South Korea, and maybe a few other markets in Europe like France, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Where's Ubisoft based? Is Ubisoft a French company? I think it is. CD Projekt Red is in like Poland. So I don't know what else Poland has going on besides CD Projekt Red. But really, it's like Japan and America. Maybe Canada. So I think about Japan and America. I don't like that. I want more of a spray. Let me get the nozzle back. It popped off. Let's see. Well, now it's like just jetting. Yeah, I don't know if it has. Yeah, it just says open and closed. So yeah, you know what? I'm gonna use this instead because it's not gonna give me that spray sound. This one just shoots out. It squirts. Let me use this one instead. But yeah, for me, if I was to move, it'd be more so about opportunity, like career, all that sort of stuff. How I can spread my wings. America has the benefit of being an English-speaking country, and it's just the hub of so many industries. So I feel like in terms of connections, finding talent, all that sort of stuff, it'd be very beneficial to live in the US. Culturally, would I fit in? Hard to say. You'd have to actually be there and see if you like mesh well with American culture. I like Japan's very community-focused culture where it's kind of like one band, one sound. It's more laid back. It's a lot more traditional and conservative. So that appeals to me, but I don't know. You have to kind of experience it for yourself to see what works, what doesn't work. Ideally, ideal scenario is I'm able to move around and spend different parts of the year in different places, and I just move around like that, and I'm never tethered to like one country. I think that'd be a beautiful situation if finances allow for that, because it's also expensive, of course. Like, you know, if I could do that, I'd buy a bunch of passports, which is a thing you can do legally. There are various citizenship by investment programs where you invest in a country and they give you a passport in return. And they use that money to build their own country. So Turkey is a big citizenship by investment program, probably the biggest in the world. They make a lot of money from people buying passports in a lot of Caribbean islands like St. Kitts and Nevis and a few others. I have citizenship by investing in programs where you can buy passports, and some countries give you residency. El Salvador has like a program where you can invest, like it's very expensive. I don't know if it's worth it, but I think you invest $1 million or something like that. You invest $1 million, then you get a passport and some other stuff. But it's still very early days for El Salvador as a nation that just shifted from a very oppressive regime. So people are still trying to like see if it's worth moving there. So I think it's very overpriced considering those factors. But there are a bunch of passports you can get. So for me, I'd love to buy passports and know that I can move around freely and be a global citizen, you know? Be a global citizen. I think it's beautiful. I think the world is beautiful and there's so much to offer. So many countries, man. So many countries. If you want to see what they all have to offer, I think, and they're all very unique. So for me, being able to just constantly be able to move around would be great. But we'll see what I end up doing. We'll see. God willing, I find the best possible situation for myself. But Japan is such a interesting, unique country, and there's a lot of good reasons to want to move. I just think people have to be very careful not to look over very important, pertinent details. Okay, let's comb again and we'll be done with you. Let's comb again and we'll be done with you. So yeah, guys, if you're someone who really wants to move to Japan, I think definitely pursue your dreams, of course. Just be careful, man. Just be careful. Oh, dating is a big thing as well. Be aware of the dating culture in Japan. So important. So that's gonna be a big thing. Of course, you're gonna want to find love. So, are you gonna marry a foreigner like you, or are you gonna marry like a native Japanese person? Be aware of family expectations, all that sort of stuff. I think about myself and how I would mesh. I'd have to find a girl, can I find a Christian Japanese girl who shares my interests? As I'm a very eccentric artist, but also like I have more conservative leanings, and I'm Christian and all these sort of things. So, you know, it's like finding someone that matches with you in a country of like Japan, which is like maybe it's less than 1% Christian, or around 1%. And there's so many considerations to make, man. So these are things you have to think about when you're moving. So don't just jump. Some people just jump, dude, and then they get there and they get so disappointed. Okay, I think that's it. So be very careful, do your research. I don't want to ruin it for people. I feel like that would be so sad. It's like someone like really like looking forward to going. All I'm saying is just do your research. But I think you should try it. You never know until you try, I guess. But yeah, don't put all your eggs in one basket. If you can have an escape route, if things are not going well for you over there, if you can find a way to have a way to exit. So maybe don't make too big of a commitment. Maybe don't commit to paying for some apartment or whatever, and you're in debt or something, and whatever, or you have to like finish some 3-year course. I think it would be wise to test the waters first before you go all in. Okay. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you liked the little deviation. Trying something new for this channel, at least, with the haircut sounds. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Let me know what you think in the comments. You know I like to pray. At the end of all my videos, so dear Father God, I thank you for this individual watching this right now. Thank you for making them whole, unique, and guiding with all to peace, prosperity, and purpose. Thank you for blessing this person with wonderful people in their life who love them, take care of them, bring them so best out of them. Thank you for maintaining the ones who are there to do the same thing. Thank you for blessing this person with love and marriage and sustaining that love and marriage and making it very, very happy. Thank you for blessing this person with spirit of gratitude so they can give thanks for all the wonderful things in life. By giving thanks, they can find peace, contentment, and attract even more blessings. Let your presence be felt in this person's life. So they know that you're God, that you're real, that you love them, and you're going to be there for them. Good health, long life, and happiness over this person, everyone they care about. In your mighty name I pray. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.